Welcome in, Divine Feminine. I've gone ahead and put together a little bit of a pre-shuffle. I want to check in on your masculine to see what could be going on their end. And I'm picking up already a lot of shifts and changes going on within their sacral chakra. In this pre-shuffle here with the Bloom Oracle, I do have welcome to the here and now presence. Some of you may have noticed that your masculines have been withdrawn, or maybe there's some kind of shift that feels very uncomfortable. And I'm here to tell you, allow it. Even if they're not being communicative at this time, there's actually something going on within the masculine at this point where they're feeling very sensitive when it comes to their sexuality. Got the card of softness, tread lightly. Let's get some cards here to start off. Got the card of humility, harmony, thorns. There is there's an awakening going on that's transforming this masculine from the inside out. But there's something very uh tender about this shift that's going on. And we'll dive a little bit deeper to see if we can get some more details on it. But you're being asked right now, can you be very tender towards the masculine? Can you give them this opportunity to detach from their ego? There's something that happened to them that makes them that's making them feel really humiliated, and they're trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel, but with softness over here, masculine energy doesn't enjoy being soft. We got cactus. I don't think it's anything that you have done. I think that there's an old wound coming up to the surface, and it's something that they have repressed for a very long time. And it sounds like the masculine's going to be going through a cycle where they do need to get this all sorted out. So, if this sounds like your person, you are more than welcome to stick around. If we haven't met yet, my name is High Priestess Berry, psychic medium and divine channeler, hoping to bring you a message. Now, always remember, my messages are candid, unscripted, but they are also timeless. So please tap into your instincts, listen to your intuition. If there's anything that I talk about that doesn't make any sense, totally fine. Do not worry about it. This message may not be for you, but if it does resonate, please let me know by liking and sharing your experience in the comments below. And please know that if you need any more additional guidance, I do provide additional services and I can get you a private channeling for your specific situation. So I'm gonna grab the erotic tarot, and thankfully this particular deck is somewhat friendly in terms of censorship, but there's something taboo. And when I say taboo, it's not even, oh, let's go explore our sexual potential. I feel as though this masculine has already gone through that particular cycle, but they haven't really gotten to the tender bits to kind of, throw a little bit of humor into this particular reading. But we're going to be having a look at what is their current situation, what are their feelings towards their karmic situation, towards their feminine, towards you. And then we'll also get a message from the universe, some actions they're likely to take, and see if we can get a potential final outcome. But at the base, we do have two of roses. There is some confirmation within here that this masculine sexuality is really out of whack, and they have been overgiving to situations, and they thought that's what they were supposed to do. It's as though they've been trying to pour all their energy into this fellow rose over here, hoping that if they did all of the work, this flower would be able to bloom into the same kind of person that they are, and something isn't quite adding up. Now, I will say, even if this doesn't have to do directly with sexuality, our sacral chakra, the color of orange, it is located in our pelvic area in the chakra system. That is water, emotions, creativity, our ability to bring ideas into the world. And I really feel as though, because when I was trying to channel this message, I just felt this need to kind of hold back. And I didn't, it's sort of like there's this outpouring and I needed to hold it back. And it's causing a lot of discomfort with the masculine. We got the card of justice. And this has been a theme on TikTok. Who is doing right unto whom, and how is everything supposed to be fair underneath their five of feathers? There's this ideology that the masculine has had around what they think is fair. I get you off, you get me off. That's one transactional, approach. Quid pro quo. You pay dinner, I pay dinner. And this will be extremely challenging if your masculine is female identifying, because there's a joke in here about chivalry. It's sort of as though if you have a someone who's a female identifying person, and traditionally it's the men who pay for dinner, but if you're a man and you are attracted to a female who's in their masculinized energy, there's something about a role reversal that might be really confusing at this time. I might have to change what clarifying deck I want to use. We'll figure that out in a second. So what are their feelings towards their karmic situation, or what's going on in their karmic situation? Six of Shells. Yeah, they're trying to balance something out. They're trying to get clarity on what it means to be a good partner, a fair partner. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with the rainbow. So I was originally going to use this deck because both of them had the strength card at the base. I'll put that off to the side here. What do we have? Nine of Wands, powering through. I like the Rainbow Tarot by while it is a little bit of a queer deck, and you do not need to be queer in order for this message to resonate, nor does your person. In some ways, it's just I enjoy gender subversion. I love coming across females who have a masculine energy, and I love being in the presence of men who are very much in their feminine energy, and they don't have to be gay. Like, there's something about understanding femininity and masculinity outside of our physical gender. And maybe you're a little bit more enlightened on this subject, but this masculine, I feel as though they've been stuck in a role. Like, they have a role that they have to play, and they want to play the role well. We got Page of Wands. Page of Wands underneath there, Two of Wands. Like, the masculine, in some ways, they know they have to behave a certain particular way, and they're kind of accustomed to external forces telling them what to do, which is ironic because when you take patriarchal mentality, it's sort of like, well, men are supposed to be, the ones that create, all the change and do all the work. But there's something that this masculine doesn't like. They want to be given orders. And femininity technically gives the orders. I know it's so backwards, but let's power through before I confuse anybody. What do we have up here? Six of Wands. There we go. We got another strength card. So there's this masculine really wants to be vulnerable. And in some ways they've been trying to find the right person to be vulnerable with. And the challenge I think that you might be struggling with, Divine Feminine, is that they were vulnerable with you, but then they cut and ran. The thing is that there was still some kind of karmic attachment I think you still had. Maybe you were playing along, maybe you thought you were being playful, but there's something about playing around, having fun within the energy. You might have just been your beautiful divine self, but there's some kind of it's sort of like there was a wound from a parent, or maybe, bullied child or an ex-lover. You behaved like this person, and the masculine thought you must be like that person, but they didn't know how to read the feminine energy. They didn't know how to read the undertow nor the intention. So more than likely they ran off to a karmic situation in order to get that same level of vulnerability. What's their feelings towards their karmic? Three of Candles. This They thought at first this was the better opportunity, because it's sort of as though this masculine's still very tender, and they're really worried about being vulnerable. Like, I just want to cover up this card of harmony. I want to cover up this detachment from their ego, because they were soft, but it's not a compliment. It's sort of like, "Oh, you're soft." That's almost like an emasculation or an impotent sort of feeling, and it didn't feel good. But there's something about what the masculine was hoping to get out of this. It's like they were trying to negotiate against their own pain. It's like, well, I just want to feel less pain. Like, I want to feel a little bit of pain, but less pain. And it's actually, this karmic situation is very sadomasochistic, I've noticed. So what do we have right here when we go to clarify? Page of Swords. So yeah, the Page of Wands here. Now we're to a Page of Swords. This masculine has a very superficial, very, it's not childlike and it's not quite childish, But this masculine's super comfortable with this karmic because they don't go deep. This karmic doesn't ask them questions. You might ask questions. I get the sense that you're extraordinarily curious, but there is something about this karmic person. What do we have? Yeah, got the chariot. It's sort of like they skipped over all of the vetting questions. They skipped over the difficult stuff and they just wanted to get to the fun shit, which is sort of what the masculine was looking for. Three of Wands. Got Three of Wands to a Three of Wands. What else do we have right here? The Emperor. Yeah, this is a bit of a confirmation. The masculine took the easy way out. Like, I think that's the easiest way to put it. They took the easy way out. They had the illusion as to what it meant to go deep. And this masculine, they are craving depth. They are craving intimacy. But because they've been wounded on that level, like, tread softly. This person has a lot of unresolved trauma that they haven't sought out or don't know where to go in order to repair what's going on. And it is their ego. It's sort of like if you have somebody who is in the mental health care industry and they might have a mental health issue or a trauma issue, but they don't feel comfortable admitting that to themselves out loud because it's sort of like, what kind of it's sort of like it's a bad image. A mentally ill person trying to treat the mentally ill. Like, technically, nobody wants that. But unfortunately, and it doesn't have to be literal to this masculine, they aren't willing to do the work because they feel as though it would impact their career, it would impact their ego. And they're just, again, worried about being humiliated. They're just avoiding an old wound. How do they feel towards their feminine at this time? Ten of Feathers. They have this impression that things are amicable between you and them. And I'm sure you're sitting here going like, fuck no. That's not what's going on here, berries, for which I say touche, I get it. But the masculines just convinced themselves that them hurting you, well, okay, they feel bad about it. But it was sort of as though, okay. They thought you were playing a game and you doesn't matter if you were or not, it's what they thought. This person's too broken, okay? They thought you were playing a game and something and as time has gone on, something within the air has cleared and I think they begun to realize you weren't playing a game with them, but because they were trying to hurt you in the way that they thought you were trying to hurt them. Tit for tat, quid pro quo. They thought they were getting divine justice. It's like, you hurt me, so I'm going to hurt you instead. Rather than being, mature about it and having a conversation and trying to see things from your perspective and them vulnerably sharing their own perspective, they just thought, okay, I'm just going to hurt you. Like, if I just keep hurting you, you'll see how much you're hurting me. Like, in some ways, I used to behave like this all of the time, and it was just a result of complete depression. There we go. There's that Queen of Swords. This is a very distorted version of the Queen of Swords, where it's like, okay, well, you're being mean towards me. So guess what? I'm gonna be mean towards you. Maybe you can get the hint. Do you get the hint? Do you get the hint? Like, this is just a really nasty cycle that the masculine started, and it didn't end the way that they thought it was supposed to because they're accustomed to working with people who operate like this, and you had grown already. Ace of Cups, because you started developing your sense of self-love and your sense of self-worth. Four of Pentacles. So it meant that you weren't willing to play the game anymore. Like, you had already matured in a way that this masculine couldn't quite perceive, and you knew not to give into it. Like, in some ways, there is a compliment for you, Divine Feminine, to let you know that you were doing the right thing. You actually were behaving as though you were healed because you were. And this masculine is just, they're embarrassed again. Like, they thought you were trying to embarrass them. You weren't. So they went to this person. They thought it was a way better opportunity. But this person, like, it's just shallow. There's no foundation. And they're noticing that this, oh shit, they notice that this karmic is looking for a way out. Like this karmic, I don't know if they're really loyal. And the masculine's trying to work really hard to keep this karmic feminine in their life. Mostly because again, they're humiliated, they're attached to their ego, and they feel as though if they can't make this work out, nothing will work out. This masculine is put kind of they put themselves in a bit of a bind, even though they don't have to, but they did it anyways because they know they can't go back to you with the game. This masculine is not healed. I'm sorry to say, this masculine has not healed. What does the divine feminine need to know from the universe? Got the card of the hermit. There's an aspect in here. Just enjoy yourself. There's actually something about you really learning about your own sexuality, your own sacredness, your own ability to create and meditate. There's something very healing about this solo time. While many of you had hoped that maybe you could, you know, because I see this justice over here. Many of you more than likely had hoped you could have explored this with your masculine. But I have to ask you, even if you were engaged with this masculine on a sexual level, how much energy did you have afterwards? Like, was it hyperactive or did they make you feel drained? Because what happens is that if you're trying to explore this level of sacred sexuality with somebody who has their wires crossed and they don't understand the core of sex magic, you will have blackouts. You will have darkness underneath your eyes. And this masculine, for some of you where this applies, they stole your energy and gave it to the karmic. And they may not even realize that they had done it. Um, your autonomy and your soloness right now is extremely important. Like you can still date other people, you can still engage with other people. There's something about your sacredness you're being asked to keep to yourself. This is an aspect of you that is not for sale. It was never for sale in the first place. Um, and this masculine did not understand it. In some ways, I think both of you might have been ignorant and naive to the power of what you guys being together could have been. And this masculine thought they could find it in somebody else. But the only way they could supercharge this karmic was through your energy. And the more that you're focused on taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, and even sexually, like this karmic is going to continue losing interest because the masculine is treated is still, I'm sorry, this masculine still continues to treat you like a commodity because they do not understand your divine power. Like I really would like to think that because of this card of justice, you have so much divine protection at this time. Four of Swords. um you are not missing anything by not having this person in your life, because if they were in your life, you would become physically ill and psychologically ill. I've been through this timeline. It sucks. We've got the Laloon, which is the moon, and this is in a lot of ways the divine is trying to protect your psyche right now. There's something very psychological, something about mental health that has come up to the surface because this masculine over here is still thinking that they need to work harder in order to keep this karmic person, even though this karmic person always has one foot out of the door. And they potentially could be cheating, but it's more so that they want the masculine to keep thinking that they're just going to leave. It's a similar kind of energy that they played with you. They hoped that you would chase after them and you couldn't. In a lot of ways, this masculine drained you so much that you couldn't chase them even if you tried because you're so exhausted. And I'm sure many of you spent most of your nights crying over this because you felt so alone. We got the Chariot. Like there's a something going on in your psyche, divine feminine, that you need to be aware of, because as long as you think that you need this person, it keeps both of you trapped. Because every time you imagine yourself with your masculine and you daydream with your masculine, this fucker is so confused, unenlightened, and unawakened. Like masculine's picking up on your daydreams, but they're getting confused and they're sending all of your energy to the karmic. You need to stop daydreaming about this person and you need to start really investing into your own soul growth. That's the only way you're going to be able to break the cycle. This is one of those moments where I never would wish a twin flame journey on another human being, especially when it comes to the art of sacred sexuality, because that energy can be stolen. And if you tried explaining that to someone in the 3D who's unawakened, they would write you off as crazy. They'd write you off as though you got the woo woo, and they would just assume that you're just behaving like a prostitute. It's a very alienating journey, especially this very specific timeline. What is it the masculine is likely to do? The chariot. Um, I'm hearing, whoa, we're going biblical? Holy shit. There's a shift. There is a shift, a gear shift going on with this masculine. Um, I'm hearing from the book of Ruth in the Bible, where you go, I will go, your God will be my God. So there's something that the masculine has poorly dedicated themselves to. They keep thinking that this karmic is their God. But as you are going deeper into your psyche, understanding your shadow, falling in love with your shadow, there's something about how can you have such a magnetic draw to your own physical image, your own physical reflection, because right now you're confused because you would like to use the image of your counterpart in sexuality, even if it is just daydreaming, but there's something subversive in here, and you're going to have to trust me, because if you've made it this far into this reading, it means you need to hear it. How do you have that love and attraction towards your own image? And that can be very uncomfortable. This masculine, when they are with you, when they kiss you, they actually do feel their own energy, and they hate themselves so much that they're not repelled by you. They're just repelled by themselves. And you shouldn't ever have to compromise that love of self. But it's also the image of like the tale of like the 3-year-old, the 2-year-old child. They're getting to know the world around them. And once they realize that if they look in a mirror and they recognize that the reflection is of themselves, their natural instinct is to kiss the image. Like, you were born loving yourself, and then you go through life hating yourself. And this masculine continues to engage with people that would rather cut them down, walk away, play games, chase around, and make this masculine feel crazy for wanting to feel love. Whoa, and I grabbed these two together. So it means that there's some kind of reversal going on. Because I would have pulled it as the Knight of Wands to the Pope, the Hierophant in this case. But because of the way that I pulled it out, it got reversed. Like, this masculine is going to go through a bit of an awakening, and I need you to be very open as to what that means. Given around the time that I'm channeling this, we just had the solar eclipse in Aries, and I'm seeing this 2-year cycle that's going to be initiated for the Divine Masculine Collective, the one that I'm tuning into, because they were taught that they had to run into the situation. How do I phrase this? Just go into the situation full throttle, and that's how you will be able to learn from your mistakes, because the masculine needs to learn things in the 3D in order to understand their mistakes. But there's something that's changing around. They realize that they need to get the wisdom before they start charging in. So this person could be going to school, they could start studying, they could start looking up some really weird ass shit. Like, and I say that, it's just like the weird spiritual woo woo, but this is something that they would keep on the down low. Let's get one more card here. 7 of Wands. They're going to be very defensive to it, and you will not see this. Mostly because they feel very weird about being themselves for the first time. What is the potential final outcome? We got the sun. Oh, I'm so glad to see this. Like, because we have the moon and we have the sun, there's going to be, you're doing a lot of subconscious work. And that's your role. When you're a divine feminine, your role is to do stuff in the subconscious. Like, often, divine feminine energy is very introvert, understanding what is it about me and my energy, and how is that reflected in the world, and how am I seeing that? Like, how do things within the news represent a mirror image of me? And that could be very difficult, because when you look at the news, it's ugly, and it's sort of like, okay, so what aspect of my shadow can I appreciate? And it's kind of funny. Like, just think of it more like an actor. Mike Myers, from Austin Powers. He plays like Mini Me and Dr. Evil. Like Mike Myers is a wonderful human being. Like he's a fellow Canadian, multilingual. He's very passionate about the work that he does, but he plays silly evil characters, not because he himself is evil, but because he has a sense of humor with his own shadow. There's so many actors in the world, they get depressed and upset because all they're doing is channeling their shadow because they have a sense of humor, and then the critics will shit on their ideas and make them feel bad for being racist or being sexist or being inappropriate. And a lot of these actors get so depressed. It's like, I'm just channeling your shadow. Like, why are you putting this on to me? There's a lot of divine feminines out there I think you have subconsciously really appreciated, and there's something about you being able to connect to that energy, but the masculine needs to go about this the opposite direction, and they have to bring this up to the surface. They have to start creating the connection of understanding when someone's be like actually racist and actually prejudiced, and be able to properly connect that in the 3D so that people will stop getting caught up in the woke wars, like WOKE, saying, well, I'm woke and you're not. And it's like, no, you just went to school or you listened to a podcast and you think you know better. Um, this masculine is destined for a mass awakening, but again, this is a 2 year, at least minimum process that the masculine has to go through because 3D energy is dense. It takes a long time, and this masculine has to learn how to be brave enough to navigate through some really nasty karmic bullshit because they are very vulnerable. They're tender. There's a reason why you fell in love with this person in the first place. You loved their feminine side, and they want to engage with that feminine side. But because they created this karmic barrier, it means that they have to go on a quest to undo all of their own karma. You've been going through it as well, but you've been going at it from a completely different polarity. 10 of Wands. This masculine is getting ready for a journey. You see the pathway that they're getting ready to walk, and this is all their fucking karma. They don't have a backpack. They're going to have to strength train through all this, and they have the sun shining down on them. They can't hide anything in this energy. And so they're going to have days where they're going to be exhausted and they can't move, other days where they're going to want to give up, but they have no other choice. Like if this character does not have any water, they know there's only a finite amount of time they'll be able to make it to the safety of the city before they die. So there is a time clock and there is pressure to move forward, but the masculine is going to be encouraged to move forward. I love it. We got the star. They wanted this. There's some kind of secret that the masculine had deep down inside years ago where they kind of subconsciously hoped they could go on a quest like this. What else do we have? Queen of Wands. In order to get the princess, even if, you're a dude and you're the divine feminine on here, like, I'm sorry, like, one of my favoriteest things about working for a costume shop years ago when I was still a graphic designer is it was during Halloween and I watched this couple come in, and the gal dressed up as Mario and her partner, big burly 6 foot bearded guy, was dressed up as Princess Peach. Like there's something delightfully subversive about what your masculine needs to go through, and I think you might actually appreciate that. But the masculines has to go through this activation, and they have to start embracing aspects of themselves that, it could turn an eye and they may or may not like that attention. It could get a little bit of unwanted attention, especially if they have to learn how to stand up to themselves with their family, with a religion, wherever that might apply. But really, this masculine, they have to go against society. And in today's day and age, especially if you reside within the United States, to go against society can be a terrifying prospect because we're in a bit of a repeat history loop right now. With Uranus's position right now in the stars is the same as where we were in World War II. So it's a gentle version of it, but it is still a repeat of history. And the masculine needs to face their ultimate fear. Because at the end of it all, if we're following our divine guidance, if we're following our instincts and our intuition and understand our shadow, we are able to navigate around the karma and we are able to become safe. But in the past, when people they navigated their karma and they navigated their intuition, they had to leave a lot of people behind, and bad things happened to people that left them behind. But you're being asked to release this. This is a more milder version of this energy, and be in the now. Like, be here in the now, which is what the card was before we went for the cut. So, what do my lovely divine feminines need to know at this time in order to engage within their twin flame journey in the best possible way? We have clearing energy blocks, activating the higher chakras. Like, it's so important. Take the wisdom of the hermit. Really get to know yourself, body, mind, and soul. There have been a lot of blocks to your understanding and your wisdom to this journey. You and masculine are working in tandem and working with the higher chakras to the lower chakras in order to create unity. Make sure that you are taking care of your own masculinized energy. Do not focus on what this person is or is not doing. Trust your subconscious, but don't listen to the brain weasels. You are going through a higher level activation. Trust the process. Believe in your own sense of unity, and you will be able to open up a brand new portal of ease and grace and abundant opportunities. I'm just saying. Woo. Well, guys, wherever it is that you are at, damn, I sincerely hope that this helped. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you like my style, please make sure to like the video on the way out. And if you need an in-depth reading on your situation, I have links below and a variety of services. Just let me know if you have any questions. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries.